Ciao, everyone. Buona domenica. I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm Esther.
I'm Alfred, reporting live from Sicily in the blistering heat again.
Blistering heat, and it's going to be bad for the next couple of weeks, Alfred. I saw temperatures of 113. So, right when I go back to Sicily, it's going to be scorching hot for my welcoming. Perfect. It's not helping the fires, that's for sure.
Not helping the mosquitoes. There hasn't been too many mosquitoes around because there's no puddles for them to drink on and to multiply. So I guess that's one of the benefits of having a heat wave that's lasted I don't know how long, forever. There aren't any mosquitoes this year. And the good part about it, even if it rains, Esther, usually by mid-September on a cool night, it kills them off, and then the rest of the year it's fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a short mosquito biting season this year.
Good, because they love me. So let's have the latest on these fires that have been burning across Sicily. The latest, the Nebrodi and Madonia mountains are burning up and, destroying livestock, destroying farms. The oasis at the end of the Simeto River down south was completely destroyed. The Simeto River, by the way, is the second longest. The longest, remember the longest, Alfred? What's the longest river in Sicily?
Merrimack River, the
The
Merrimack
Merrimack,
River.
the Celso River. But anyway,
Whatever.
this is a very serious situation that's happening, and there's some groups calling on Nella Musumeci, the president of the region, to bring in the military. It's getting that bad. Of course, he did get some reinforcement from up north, um, volunteers and so forth coming, but they're saying, we need surveillance, we need the military to combat this because these fires, most of them have been set by people. It's a shame.
Well, I felt bad for the guy in the Mondoni who lost 50 cows. They were burned. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
they got. Did you read about that poor guy?
it's terrible.
Uh, and the thing is that the big thing was he had a huge herd of 500 cows, but he saved those.
Yeah,
However, all his food for the cows got destroyed where
yeah,
they eat on the land. So now what all the farmers are doing from far away is they're going over there and they're trying to bring hay and stuff to keep his
yeah,
stocks alive.
yeah.
It's a terrible thing what's going on in this country right now. Fortunately, where we are at, Esther, it's good. It's there haven't been
They're
any
in,
raging. Yeah, there hasn't been in front of me. I'm talking about in front of me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? From Capo Molino, Daci Creta, Daci Castello, and right in front of me, believe me, uh, it's a tinderbox. So I've been having my heart in my mouth a little bit over
Yeah, for
my
sure.
beautiful olive grove in front of me. Terrible what's
Alfred,
happening.
but you
Terrible.
have an update on the Campanini Lido that burned to the ground a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it.
Yeah, the Campaninium. I was talking to Massimo. Today they reopened, believe it or not. They
That's
opened
great.
with temporary changing stations, but they
Yeah,
cleared off the beach here. See, they have those people. There are two ways to go to the Lido. You can just walk up and pay an admission of €12 a day or whatever the admission is, or you could buy a season pass. Season pass usually range from €750 to €1,500, depending on the Lido. Okay,
yeah,
this one over here, I believe, is about €1,000 for a season, which starts in mid-June and gets over when the kids go back to school in September.
yeah,
So today, all the people who are on, they call them the first line people. That means when they put the beds out, lay out, they're in the first line before the seat,
yeah.
first line people.
Those are the
So
coveted
they're
positions.
those are the coveted positions. So why? Because you don't have to walk and go ooh, ooh, on the hot sand to get to the sea. You're on
Yeah.
the first line. You just go right there. So
So
I'm
that's
hoping
good news.
that
That's good
Massimo is
news.
happy. Yeah, that's good news. It's encouraging news. But
But
other than that,
but you
the
talk about,
criminals aren't encouraging
yeah,
news.
yeah. And I saw the Bishop of Sheffield spoke about this, and he said, this is an act against God. So a lot of people are talking about, that the seriousness of this. Of course, we talked about this, people doing this on purpose. Several people have already been arrested, but I agree with this nonprofit. Bring in the military. This has now been raised to a national problem. So, all right, let's
Well,
move
you
on.
know, Esther,
Mhm.
not that I want to get political or anything, but a landowner's got a right to defend his property, and it's really difficult to get a gun over here in Sicily. You have to jump through hoops.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if
But
these
a
if
lot, I
these
mean,
thugs and
it's not,
criminals knew that some of these guys were protecting their livestock,
yeah,
you know, they would think twice before setting a fire. But right now, it's very difficult to get a. It's always been very difficult to get a firearm permit or license in Sicily. One of the first things you have, besides going through a rigorous training and testing and
yeah,
everything else, you have to have a whole psychological workup. And I believe you have to go every year for that, which may be good or may be bad, but there is no Second Amendment right to bear arms in Italy. Okay. Um, I think it was the except if you have a shotgun for hunting
right.
purposes or something like that. But you're not going to have no 9 millimeter or no AK-47 waiting for someone to burn your fields down.
Yeah.
But there's the good and the bad of that, and what the bad is, the criminals know that. The criminals know that. Usually there's nobody at these places protecting them. What do they have? A shotgun? Come on,
Yeah. All
a
right. So
bird gun?
the other big news, of course, is the Green Pass that has been going on since August 6th. You'll have to have a Green Pass, green certificate to eat indoors in restaurants, go to indoor cultural events, museums, and so forth. And for Americans and foreigners, Canadians, and so forth visiting, they're saying, the CDC or whatever, an equivalent showing that you've either had a vaccination, either tested positive or have um, recovered from the COVID. Now, the new thing this week, Alfred, is that they're requiring teachers and medical workers to get some kind of a green pass, so get tested and so forth. And they're talking about big penalties if you do not. Of course, the rioters continue in Milan and Florence, all over. I saw some in Turin also protesting this green pass. But I got to tell you, I've been talking to some people, friends of mine back in Sicily. And for instance, my Italian teacher told me she went to a bar yesterday to have a gelato indoors, and no one asked for a green card. No one asked for her green certificate. We also have our friends Rosie and her husband are in Florence, and they say the same thing. All they ask for are the tickets. Now, the other quick note that I want to say is that if you are coming to Sicily and Italy, you do not need the green pass when you're taking public transportation. But if you're going region to region, starting September 1st, you will need it. So make sure when you come to Sicily and Italy that you bring some kind of proof that you've gotten one of those.
Preferably it's translated too.
Yeah.
Uh, Listen, here's what I know. The statistics just I was reading in La Sicilia, I believe it was, for this weekend at restaurants. They're off 25% because of the institution of the Green Pass.
Yeah.
That's to a group of people who are already on their knees. They're putting another burden on them. Okay.
Yeah.
So 25% are hardcore people who are just not going to get the vaccination for one reason or another, whether it's political,
Yeah.
whether it's philosophical, whether it's for health, whether it's for economics. I was surprised that reading in the New York Times today the article about a good percentage of the unvaccinated, even in the states, Esther, is because of an economic reason. Okay,
Yeah.
so the 25% aren't going to get vaccinated, in my view, unless they grab you by the throat and they stick it in your arm. So that means 75% is left. Sicily right now, I believe, Italy right now, I believe, is between 50 and 60%. Aren't they
60%.
correct?
60%.
60%. So another 10%, uh, I think that's about as good as you're going to get. Now, if you have the vaccination, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Esther, the chances of you dying, so to speak, if you do get this Delta, is less than 1%. It's something like 0.3% 5%. Am I correct? I mean, if you do
Well,
get the Delta as a
yeah,
breakthrough, chances are greatly it's not going to kill you. Okay. On the other side of the story, who it will seriously hurt, and what we're seeing people going into the hospitals with, are those who are unvaccinated. It's the unvaccinated that the Delta will seem to me, uh, and I'm no Fauci or anybody like that, but will hurt far worse than those who are vaccinated. So another 10%. Now, here in Italy, again, this is just my opinion, they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at the people right now to get them vaccinated. Okay.
Well, no,
I don't know if it's,
they're what they're doing
no,
is trying to no, I mean, they're just placing vaccinations in places where more people can reach it, which I think is a smart thing. Some lidos, you want to go to the beach, you don't necessarily have to have it, but it's making it easier, especially in the summertime with Ferragosto happening. So that's going to
yeah.
be a big thing. Let me just say a big thank you to Jim Ingram for that super
Hi,
sticker.
Jim. Thank you,
And
Jim.
welcome Jane. She's a new member. If you don't know what a member is, on our YouTube
Hi,
channel,
Jane.
we have this thing that if you hit the join button for $1.99 a month, you become a member. You get some behind the scenes videos of stuff that we've never posted. And it's just a fun way to support this channel. Also, a big thank you to Jody DeLuca, who had a wonderful visit with her parents. I was so pleased to see that with her grandson and daughter. What a beautiful thing that is. So welcome to everyone who's watching us on Facebook and also on YouTube. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
I believe Jody will be here in less than in just a little over a month, and Jimmy
Little
will
over a
be
month.
here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little over a month too. And I think that by that time the weather is going to be great. I think the weather is the big thing right now. Did you know that today, coming over the strait on the ferries,
Yeah.
there is a 3-hour wait to get on those ferries to come to Sicily, and it's a combination of people who want a vacation here for Ferragosto,
Yeah.
which is essentially is a 10-day to 2-week holiday, okay? Or it's the Sicilians who are living up north who want to come back for Ferragosto to see family and friends. But right now on the Autostrada, it is jam-packed. And on the ferries, it is a jam-packed. Now, what the government's doing, this is the first time I've ever heard about this. At both ends of the ferry, in other words, on the Calabria side and over here, they're passing out free water to people. They're giving people free water. Imagine that. I think that's pretty nice of them. No pizza though, but water.
Some people on the chat here, Silvio says, I tried to protest against the Green Pass in Catania last Saturday, but sadly I realized we're only people over 40 age. I wondered, where are the young? What do you think? They're at the Lido, Silvio. They're at the beach. So now Carmen.
That's right.
Carmen
You're right.
said she went to bed at 2 a.m. Because there was this smoke smell in my neighborhood in Adrano and couldn't understand where it was coming from. It's becoming an everyday situation. I've been seeing a lot of my friends also in Corleone, across Sicily, that it's happening. Now, a few people have been asking that about if you're traveling to Italy and Sicily. Right now, the green certificate and green pass is only available to EU members or people living in Italy. But a lot of people said, there's someone here on the chat that said she's in Catania. She's from Canada. And she said that they're not asking. Now, here's the situation with that. And I've talked to some of my restaurant people too, that just the logistics of it, how it goes through. Some people in some parts of the Sicily and Italy don't have access to a computer, a printer. They don't have a smartphone. They can't show it. So there's a lot of complications. But this person also told me that you can go to your local pharmacy and they'll help you print out a green pass. And so again, for those coming from countries outside of the EU, you will have to just show a proof of vaccination, a negative test, or that you have been healed from COVID or that you recovered
Listen,
from
Esther,
COVID.
I have one thing to say about this whole business on the Green Pass, which is a good thing, and I'm not talking
Yes,
about for personal safety. Once the authorities get their act together and start passing out 400 euro fines, Esther, they're going to realize in their head, hey, this is a good way to make money for this town or the city. So I wouldn't take any chances if I were you.
yes,
I wouldn't believe that, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Keep
exactly.
your keep your uh, evidence that you have been vaccinated, if you have, with you, and make duplicate and triplicate copies of it
Yeah,
besides everything else. Or else it's a hefty fine. It's a fine for you, and it's going to be a fine for the restaurant owner
restaurant
or the
and the
club owner or
museums
whoever.
and the cultural. I mean, we're talking wide spectrum.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Peter Scapoletti, two of my favorite people, Esther and Alfred. I had such a great visit with Peter Scapoletti and his wife, Jean. Let me tell you about his tomato garden. And also, he has peppers and garlic and all types of things. And they had such a beautiful spread, and we had such a great time visiting. So, as my days wind down here, obviously, I'm so looking forward to going back to Sicily and seeing you, of course, Alfred, and my friends. But I'm enjoying seeing all my friends here. So that's been very nice. So thank you, Peter Scipoletti. I saw Jim Ingram says, Esther, you asked me to remind you about the thinking on a tour of the Aeolian Islands. Yeah, the islands are a beautiful place to visit. Also, reminder to those traveling through EU countries to Sicily, grab coffee or something, €1 coins for tips. That's great point, Jim Ingram. Not only for tips, but when you're coming off, one of my most memorable advice from Alfred Zappala, first time in 2014 when I arrived to Sicily, he said, make sure in Rome you get something to drink or eat and have some coins, because when you get to Catania, you'll need €1 to, to get one of those cards, right? So that was great advice. Always good to have some change there. So that's great. Let me just read this. Hi, I'm in New Orleans and coming to Sicily at the end of October. I can just bring my vaccination card showing I have been fully vaccinated. Yes. Thanks for all your great information. The other thing I have to mention, and this is really important, that you need a travel locator form. Travel locator form is found on the EU's website. So the EU Commission, and you'll need a travel locator form. It's very important. When we are finished here, I will put a link to that at the description of the YouTube video. So if you're watching us on YouTube, if you don't know that we have a YouTube channel, it's called You, Me, and Sicily. And for those watching on Facebook, we also have a Facebook page. The other big news is the Olympics. Wow, 40 medals. Oops. 40 medals for the Italians, 10 gold, 10 bronze, 10 silver and 20 bronze.
Esther, not that I want to brag about Italy, but if you do the statistics, there's a little less than 70 million people here, and they garnered, how many medals did you say?
40.
40, all right? And they spend a heck of a lot less than the United States Olympic team does, which won, how many did the United States win? 100 and what? 110, 115?
No, they did. The
with
U.S.
a
did pretty
population
well.
of 360 million people. The Italians did great. I mean, I think the big stunner was the fact that they won the 100-meter dash and the 4x100-meter relay. Okay.
Yeah.
But here in Italy, it's been a special joy. You know that Italy finished 10th in the overall standings of the
For
medal
a country
winners.
of 60 million, that's not bad.
A country that's broke, a country that doesn't have the training facilities that Russia has, China has, Japan has, the United States has, right? A lot of these people do it on their own. Okay, you really have to tip your hat to the Italian amateur athletics that has put together wonderful programs,
Yeah,
starting youth level all the way up. I mean, I was surprised that they didn't win the water polo. Well, did they win the water polo? They're like
I'm not
really
sure.
into water polo over here, at least in Catania. But
Yeah.
all
Oh,
their
much for
sports did
sure.
well. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Big
Doris says,
bravo to them.
thank you for my Sicilian pendant. If you guys don't know what that is, we have a couple more Sicilian Trinacria pendants available. Message me or email me if you want one of those beautiful silver Trinacrias. Okay, what's the locator for? The locator is something that someone even said that there's a link on the flight agency's emails. They ask for them in the airport. Listen, I'm going to be traveling back to Sicily next Sunday, not this Sunday, on the 14th. So I'm going to be documenting everything I have to do. But for people that have arrived, and we have several friends that have arrived to Sicily and Italy from the United States, they ask for those at the airport. So travel locator, again, they can be found on the EU website, the European Commission's website, your travel agency. And just as a good reminder, everyone, because flights are changing, flights are being canceled. Of course, Alfred's flight was canceled. Make sure you call your travel company or your airline to make sure that your flight is
Confirm.
that's on time, and also ask them what you'll need. But those two things, some
Confirm.
kind of a vaccination, a negative test that you have recovered, or in the travel locator.
I want to
So
give a shout out to somebody I know that's watching today, my cousin David Medolo.
he's here.
You remember, yeah, Joe Medolo, of course, came here with his two kids. My other cousin, that's David's brother, several years ago. Remember, we spent a nice day with them, Esther and
Yes.
Catania, Kayla. I can't think of the boy's name, but anyways, David and Joe, my two cousins, they are really into the feast of Saint Alfio, which of course started over here in Trecastagni and now in Lawrence, Massachusetts, is one of the largest Italian festivals in New England. And both these guys are kind of like big honchos in the feast. Joey especially. Joey loves that thing. I see him all the time.
What a great
David,
feast.
yeah, David is a special guy. You know, when my mother passed away, a long 10 years ago, however long it was, David is he works in a funeral parlor, a big funeral parlor in
Yeah.
Massachusetts. And he contacted my brother and he says, Tommy, I'm going to take care of your mother. And David, who was our relative, worked on my mother. And I swear I'll never forget how beautiful, my mother looked at her wake. And it was thanks to David. I told that to my brother. I said, I'll never forget that guy. You did a
Yeah.
hell of a
That's
job.
beautiful.
David, I love you. My deep respects to you and your family, brother. God bless you. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Speaking of your brother, I had such a great time on the Sicilian Corner radio show on Facebook, the Sicilian Corner. On Friday, we talked obviously about all things Sicilian, talked about food, talked about the current situation, about travel, and so forth. So a thank you to him. Thomas Catone, any advice on getting a SIM card for my phone while in Sicily? In my opinion, a SIM card is a pain in the butt, because then you have to go and recharge it, go into, whatever store and recharge it, refill it. My advice on that is contact your cell phone provider in the United States or whatever country you're coming from and see if they have some kind of a travel plan. I know Verizon has a really good travel plan. What are your thoughts, Al?
Okay, Tom, let me give you some other advice, okay? It's not a pain in the butt. I'll tell you where to go. I'll give you a choice of three places. The first place is called Wind, W-I-N-D, Wind. They're all over the place. They have kiosks all over the place in Rome Airport and you name it, Palermo Airport, Catania Airport. They're good. You can go to TIM, T-I-M, Telecom Italia.
Yeah.
You could buy a SIM card over there too. Those are I would say, and then also Vodafone. So
Hmm.
there are plenty of uh, places to get it.
Now,
However,
honey.
wait a minute, let me just
Okay.
finish, okay? If you're
Okay.
staying in a hotel that has Wi-Fi in the hotel, the first thing you do after you put your bags down and go do pee-pee, is you get the password and make sure that you're online in the hotel. And if you do that, now you can get onto WhatsApp for free, call home for free. That's what
Yeah.
Esther and I talk every day on WhatsApp. Or if you have Facebook, Facebook Messenger for free. And what's the other one, Esther, you use? There's another one too.
WhatsApp.
FaceTime or something?
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, excuse
WhatsApp.
me, right. So those are
Alfred,
free.
well,
Go
I
ahead.
would like to respectfully disagree with you. If you remember when I used to have to go to the SIM store every single time we had to recharge it, it was a pain in the butt for you to drive me to the store, which is not available in our area, recharge it. I would have to see how many minutes I have left. So I would say, and there's not a Tim or a Wind or a Vodafone on every street corner, in my
Wait a
opinion.
minute. Now
Yes.
let me say this, okay? First
Hmm.
of all, it's never a pain in my butt to take you anywhere, okay? I love taking you places, okay? But on the other side of the story, the last 5 years, the 5 years that the technology is changed now. Now
Yeah,
it isn't so much about minutes; it's about how many gigabytes you use.
right.
So you can get unlimited gigabytes for €10 or €20. A lot cheaper than it is in the United States.
Well,
The cell phones here are
yeah.
80,000 times percent better than in the United States for price. You get ripped off in the United States by Comcast, by Verizon. That's what happens when you have monopolies over there. Believe me, it's a
Yeah.
lot cheap. I pay
So,
€21 a month for unlimited data and unlimited calls. Believe me, it's
but you
unbelievable.
have,
Twenty one euro a
But
month.
Alfred, you also have to get into a contract to have that. You can, for those people visiting on a short-term basis, they can't sign into a 1 year, 2 year contract like you had to.
Ask Joe Ascione,
Yeah.
and some of the people that we recommend. They buy 100 gigs they buy and buy the gigs. 100 gigs will last you for 2 weeks, 3 weeks easily, even if you're watching movies.
Yeah.
You
As
shouldn't
I
be
recall,
watching
they
too many
have to
movies. That's
go.
what really sucked it down, the thing. Yeah, honey.
Jim says absolutely not every phone accepts foreign SIM cards. Go to your phone company and get their international plan. For instance, my phone doesn't take a SIM card. So, all right. Uh,
That's because you use a dial-up rotary still, Jim. I know you. You have a dial-up rotary.
no, excuse me, Al.
Am I right?
My phone doesn't accept SIM cards. So that's
Oh, okay. All right.
so.
All right.
I guess that's our two different views on the phone. And plus, just one more thing on the phone. What you're touring, why would you want to be putting it in the GPS? Where's the nearest Vodafone? Where's the nearest? Some of them are located at
You do
malls.
it once. You do it once. You say, I'm going to
Okay.
be in country for 3 months. What kind of program you have? And they say,
Uh,
well, for 3 months, you ought to get this one. It's €50. You say, okay.
Anthony
What
says.
you did is you used to say, okay, give me €2 worth. You
Anthony
were a
says.
little bit, I don't want to say on the cheap side, but you were a little bit on the cheap side there, Bunsta, as I
Except
remember.
you were paying it, Al, as I remember it. Ciao,
Come
Al and
on, we're just
Esther.
having fun.
I was wondering what is it better to take from Rome to Sicily, the train or the plane? Price wise, is it cheaper the train? Flight is about €100 or so, even less. How much is
The
the train,
train
Al?
is 67 and the bus is 39. Of
Yeah.
course, if you can get first class. The nice thing about the train is it's a 9 hour train ride or 8 hour train ride. Is you have free Wi-Fi on the train, and it's very comfortable. And they're not
Yeah.
like crummy trains. They're like nice trains. Trains are
Um,
good. Buses are buses.
our
You're uncomfortable in a bus.
Yeah. Our buddy Frank Angelo Santamaria is here. I had no problem with T-Mobile, no charges for
Oh,
text
good,
and
good.
internet. Most people seem to. Okay, Joe Alcione Says you're right, Al. The SIM card was big money saver versus AT&T, but they were here for 3 months. So you're
Thank
here
you
for.
very much, ladies and gentlemen.
But
Thank you very much.
Alfred Zappala, for those coming on a short-term basis for 10 days or 2 weeks, I would say getting your uh, international plan is the way. So if you're staying long-term, sure. But they had leisurely staying here for 3 months. They could go to the mall, and I believe you accompanied them, Alfred, to show them a couple of times with the SIM card. So if you're staying for 3 months, sure. But if you want to waste your time, I don't think people want to waste their time if they're there
It's
for
not a
10 days.
waste of time. I think it's good to do road trips and side trips into electronic stores and supermarkets, restaurants and pharmacies. That's part of the whole cultural thing. Standing in line, yelling
Wait,
at the guy.
oh, oh yeah, we've had some great experience on that.
That's for sure.
Now,
That's
I
for
want to
sure.
just, this is great. My daughter used to play volleyball in a school sport facility. We have one structure, the local part, but it's mostly for basketball. We pay $30, 30 euro a month for their training. Their sports suits are brought by the parents, and every movement to other towns of competitions are paid by us. So that's a little
Correct.
bit about the sports.
Let me say something about that too. And
Yeah,
all the coaches in all the sports have to have a certification or a license from FIDA, FIDA, whatever it is, the Federation Italiano of Sports. Okay. What you do is you contact them, they send you out a form. You have to say what your background is in that sport. And then they give you levels.
yeah,
Level 1, level 2, level 3, okay? Only then can you be a coach, okay? No matter, even if it's tiddlywinks. I don't know if there is a tiddlywink team, but every organized sport, starting in elementary school, has coaches who are certified. That is
yeah.
not the case in the United States, Esther.
Okay.
Anybody could be a coach in the United States. Am I right or wrong?
I'm
I'm
not sure.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously. You don't have to have the certification, national certification. And it's good because they have compulsory, you have to go to training courses and stuff like that, CPR and all this other stuff. I think it's good. And the most important thing it teaches is, one of the good things it teaches is something called sportsmanship. Okay? You don't ever see Italian kids piss and moan, do you? The only time they piss and moan is when they're playing soccer and the other teams are flopping all over the place. Look at the decorum of the Italian Olympic team. Did you see the two runners?
Beautiful.
One of them
Yeah.
was the Italian guy. He basically gave the other guy an opportunity to co-win a gold medal.
That was
Stop and
so
think about that.
beautiful. That was so
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
stop and think about that, okay? There's
Yeah.
no big Nike contracts at the end of the rainbow for almost all these people. Maybe for the top one or two.
Yeah.
These people do it, as Kevin Costner says, for the love of the
Of the
game.
game. Right.
Am I right, Esther, or wrong?
Listen, Len Canistano, he said he ordered your books. Len, I'm going to write down your name. That's very unusual.
No, I know they went out Tuesday.
They went
I
out
remember
Tuesday.
Len's book. Yeah.
Okay,
Jennifer
perfect.
just got the books out, Len. Okay?
Okay,
They went out
perfect, honey.
Tuesday. All books went out. If you don't have them by next week, contact me and I'll make sure that I'll find out what the story was. But every set of books went out, Len.
And
Okay?
they're
You
good
should
set
have
of
it.
books to read.
What?
Hilario says, good morning. Quick question for you guys. Do you know of a good real estate agent in Noto Ragusa, Modica area that you can recommend?
No. I don't recommend real estate agents. Sorry.
Yeah.
And neither does Massimo. Because a real estate agent here is not like a real estate agent in the United States. And I'm not going to say anything bad about them, so I won't talk about them. But the answer is no. I do not recommend a real estate agency that you can go. There are big places like immobiliare.it that you could look at places, or the place has
Idealista.
to Idealista, or the other place that I always recommend that what's the name of the place? Subido. There are big websites. Okay.
Subido.it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Or Facebook Marketplace is very good. Facebook Marketplace in Ragusa, Facebook Marketplace is there aren't typically any middlemen like realtors. Typically it's people who are owners trying to unload their houses or whatever. And you could probably find the lowest prices of all at the Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
But as far as realtors, no. Just my own opinion.
Any news on Alitalia domestic flights? We are scheduled Alitalia between Rome and Palermo. As we have talked about this here before, Alitalia is being bought by another company starting in October. My best advice, as I mentioned earlier, call them up, confirm your flights. Things are changing very, very quickly.
I never even knew that there was a Rome to Palermo flight, Tom. What is he talking about?
No, Alitalia, honey. Of course they do. Alitalia.
From
Rome to Palermo.
Palermo to Catania?
No, Palermo.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah.
Palermo to
the
Rome.
problem is not that flight. The problem is the international flight getting back into the States. Somebody else just told us I think all the Boston flights have been canceled. Am I correct in saying that, Esther?
Say that again.
All of them. I think all the Boston flights were canceled, right?
And they're canceling also some other flights. Again, call in advance. Anthony, can you still go to the beach in September? Absolutely. In fact, people swim here in Sicily October, November. So it is definitely still a beautiful time. It's still pretty warm, not hot, 113, 115 as it is now, but it is, in the 80s and 90s. Let me just follow up with this. How do you go about buying? I checked all those places and contacted some of them, but no answer.
Well, my first, listen, here's my thing, okay? You should never buy a place in a foreign country unless you come here and put 2 eyes yourself on the place yourself.
Exactly.
Okay? 99% of the problems that we've had with our clients are people who buy over the internet. Okay? For a variety of reasons. If you want to buy a place and you're going to invest money in this place, you need to come here. You want to go to Ragusa? You go to Ragusa, and they have a bunch of real estate places over there. Walk into a few. You don't even have to go inside because on the outside door panel, they have listings of all the places that they have. If you see something, you go visit it. If you don't see something, you don't go visit it. Considerations like close proximity to shopping, close proximity to schools, close proximity to doctors, those are things that only you can eyeball, okay? Now, the biggest complaint is stairs and hills, okay? When a realtor says to you, yeah, that's hilly, you don't realize that it could, a hill could be a mountain as far as you're concerned. Yeah. So I just told that to one of my clients recently. It says, you're going to buy a place, you need to come here. You need to look at the neighborhood. How do you know that there's not, thugs living next door? You think the realtor's going to tell you that? So that's what my view is. Or you can, try to do what you best can. But Massimo and I made a decision many years ago. We don't give recommendations out for realtors because when things go wrong, not if things go wrong, who gets the shit end of the stick is me or my partner Massimo. So we said basta. Okay, we don't do it. Those guys are trying to make a living, the realtors, and it's a depression out there for real estate. It's almost impossible to get a mortgage in Italy. Most of the deals in the United States have to be cash. However, knowing that, cash is king. So if you have cash, you don't want to be negotiating on a cash deal over the internet via email or on, WhatsApp. You want to look the guy in the face. You want to see what his demeanor is. what his deportment is, what is his body language.
Yeah.
Okay, or else you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. Just my own opinion.
Al, what about renting? Is it okay to rent over the internet?
That depends.
Mm.
Look at if it says .uk, stay away from that, will you please? You've got people in England renting property in Sicily. Okay, usually those people in England are hooked up with a realtor in Sicily, so there's double layers over there of payola, so to speak. Why do that? Okay, you can if you look. You can get a place for 700 or 800 euro a month, maybe 900 euro a month. Listen to what I'm saying. That's between $700 and $900 a month for a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go into the city center, maybe of Catania or Palermo, you got to pay more. But generally speaking, okay, you have to look at it. When you get in trouble, Helen, is when you depend on people who they're just trying to do it for a living. Okay, you need to come here, look around. That's just my opinion.
That would be
Okay.
my opinion too.
Yeah.
Sean says, any hope on the Sicilian project polo shirt? Sean, we're going to do the Yumi and Sicily
No,
polo
not
shirts.
Sicilian project. Not Sicilian project
We
polo
will
shirts.
have the Yumi and Sicily polo shirts. And, you know, just to go back again about renting, you know, I suggest, you know, a lot of people, we get a lot of people asking us about renting, buying, but just come to Sicily and look around because every region is so different. Every region offers something different, depends what you like. So for renting and for buying, my biggest advice would be just like Alfred said, come here and or come there and check it out. Travel around a little bit. Take a look at what neighborhoods you want. Do you want to be near the
And
beach? Do you
Ragusa is
want
a
to do
beautiful area, by
Wait,
the
let me
way.
finish, honey.
Esther.
Do you want to
Yep.
be by the beach? Do you want to be by the mountain? Do you want to be in the city? Do you want to be outside of the city? What things do you want to be walking distance? That's a big consideration for people. I get a lot of people saying to me all the time, I want to be in a seaside community and be walking distance from restaurants, the stores, and so forth. Those are things that I would suggest make a checklist of things that you want. Come here, look around, and then go about
Yep.
renting
Yep.
or buying.
And I'll tell you the best thing to do, okay? This is just like I was talking to Jimmy about this. Jimmy wants to come here 3 months a year, but he wants to do it indefinitely. So I said, look, why don't you find a couple of other people and rent a place by the year, or take a 2-year lease with a 2-year option or a 4-year lease, and you come for 3 months, and then your pal comes for 3 months, and then you come back for 3 months, and your pal comes back for 3 months. This way here, you'll have a nice place for cheap. You guys
Yeah,
can cut the electric bill, you can cut the gas bill,
good
you can cut
advice.
the garbage bill. What?
Good advice, honey.
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah,
I
I
said
mean,
good
I
advice.
think I think that's the way to go. Okay, so
Listen,
you say to somebody, okay, I'm going to come the first 3 months next year, and then the following year you come the first 3 months. So you whatever 2 months that you pick, the two sections, the next time you flip them, and whoever's renting the place with you comes. It's going to be good no matter when you come. Just my own opinion.
Tom Catone is so funny. I live in a mountains town. I'm getting a golf cart to get around. Oh my goodness, that is funny. Listen,
I'm
before
not
I
even sure that a golf cart would get up our hill. Do you think a golf cart would get up our hill,
no,
Esther?
no.
I don't
But
think a
listen,
golf
let
cart
me
would get
just
up
do a
our hill.
quick note that if you're enjoying this video on Facebook and YouTube, please hit the like button, share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook pages because we come to you live every single week. And plus, we have all types of videos about Sicily. So just a little bit of a budgeting note. Now, another thing, this is a good question. Are Airbnbs, etc., or it's not a question, are better controlled? We have had some people have pretty good luck with that.
Let me talk about B&Bs, okay? There are two different types of B&Bs. There are those that are registered with the authorities. That
Yes.
means they go to the town hall, and they register that they have a commercial B&B. Why is that important? Well, it's important for two reasons. Number one, when you pay the money, a portion of that goes to taxes. But most importantly, number two, the health authorities have come over and inspected the place. Okay?
Exactly.
Now, that's type one. Number two is those who go on Airbnb or whatever places there are and have not registered. These are the fly-by-nighters. If they're charging you $100, that whole $100 is going in their pocket. They're not advising the authorities that they're in the business. They don't even care about the place typically. Okay, so you need to watch out. Again, caveat emptor. Did you ever hear that before? Caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. Okay, because if you get hooked up in something where you've paid, say for example, bookings.com, and you walk into some place and it's a genuine shithole and you can't stay there, you're stuck in a foreign country now where your option is to stay in that shithole or rent someplace else. But you're not going to get your money back right away. Okay? So measure one. How does that thing go?
Measure 9 times, cut
Measure
1.
9 times, cut
Cut
once.
once.
Okay? Geez, do your homework. Some of these people that call me up and send me emails about how they got screwed, and believe me, a lot of people get screwed.
We've gotten several
Okay,
of those. Nancy
okay,
Murata,
right?
nice to see you back here. Buona domenica, Astronel. For long-term in Sicily, can my Italian phone company put their service on my iPhone with a Italia SIM card? Yes, for sure. This is a good question. What's the best way to change dollar to euro? Is it better to do it in America? My advice to all of our travelers is come here with minimum 500 cash just from the get-go, just so you
You're
have
talking about
some money.
euro. You're talking about
For
euro,
euro,
not cash.
yes. Cash
All right.
in euro just from the get-go, because you know how many times, Alfred, it's happened to us. We'll go to a bank machine, it's out of order. I mean, these banks are not in every corner like it is in the United States. So I say come prepared. And the value of the dollar and the euro continues to fluctuate. So you may get a better rate here. It depends what kind of a bank you're using. But I do have to say that more and more places are accepting credit cards, but there are still many places in Sicily that do not. Right, Al? I mean, just down the road from us, Francesca and Graziella, they keep saying, "Oh, we're going to get a credit card machine." Oh, they haven't gotten it. You can only
Bank of
spend
America
cash.
is good.
Hold on, honey. You can only spend
Yep.
cash, and also, the tabaccaria where they sell the newspapers, where they sell, the little knickknacks. They don't have credit card machines. They don't have credit card machines. Bring some cash to start out with for sure.
Typically, Bank of America has got good exchange rates in the
Yes.
United States. The ones at the airport, those kiosks there on the other side of security, they're buying money wholesale and they're retailing it, so they're obviously more expensive. So if you want to bring a few €100, bring a debit card. And by the way, always when you come in here, whether you have credit cards or debit cards, you need to call and inform your cardholder that you're going to be out of country. Because one of the things you don't want to have is they see a suspicious activity in Italy and you hadn't notified them, and then all of a sudden they shut you off. Okay, so that's the other thing I would say. And then, if you have 50 or 75 euro left over, keep it.
Yeah.
For the next time you come. I hope you come back.
Exactly.
Right?
Good advice, Al.
All right.
Sue Willer says 6 of us are doing a private guided tour of the Last Supper for 1 hour. Do you have suggestions for tipping? We suggest tipping not only.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
These people. Let me get this straight.
Wait a sec.
No, wait a minute. These people have a private guided tour of the Last Supper.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think that's that they have something like that in Rome. Sue, by the way, Sue Willard and her husband are coming with us on a private tour in November. But so let me just, Sue, let us know more details about this tour. But when it comes to guides, when it comes to restaurants, we always recommend tipping, especially now, guides especially have been out of work. So is everyone else, but guides and restaurants and all these people have been out of work. So I strongly suggest, and the interesting thing is they don't accept it. We tip all of our guides and they don't accept it. I mean, they don't expect it. So they're very humble. If you enjoyed the tour, Sue Willard, I say go for it.
I'm still trying to figure out where the Last Supper is.
Well, I'm asking Stefania.
Is that Leonardo da Vinci's painting? Is that at a museum or something?
No, but that'd be interesting to know. Let me see. Buona domenica, Stefania. Nice to see my co-Italian conversation teacher here with me.
You haven't even talked about that yet, Esther.
Well, we have our
What's the story with that?
We have our Italian conversation classes continuing. We have some pre-recorded videos that we send people in a private link and a PDF along with it. So it's so much fun to do, and you can watch it and rewatch it many times. If anyone,
how much does it cost, and how do they get it?
It's $20 for 4 videos. So you get the private link, you follow along, you listen to it as many times as you want. And sometimes we even have live ones where people can come on and practice their Italian. It's conversation. We don't do any kind of grammar. So that's one way of get in touch with me. This is a good advice. Carry coins in your swimsuit pocket. That is good advice. You want to get a cup of coffee, it's 80 cents. 80 cents to
I agree 100%. That is good advice. That is good advice.
Okay, here we go. Last Supper is Leonardo's painting in Milan. That's good to know. That's
all right. So you're going to be up in Milan on a guided tour. Okay. Now I understand. Okay. So obviously you get a tip. You got to tip the guide. Okay. Just make sure that the guide is a licensed guide and not a gypsy. And they call them gypsies, even though I think that's a disparaging term myself. But I'm talking about an unlicensed guide.
Yeah.
Okay. There are 2 different types of guides. Licensed guides are those that have taken a test and on the subject that they're supposed to be doing, and are licensed by the federal government, the Italian government. The other type are not licensed. They're fly-by-nighters, okay? Just so you know, okay? For example, we only use, in our trips down here in Sicily, licensed guides, period, end of sentence, okay? Yeah. They have like a federal ID number. They have to wear this little badge and all this other stuff. Be careful when you go into the biggest cities, especially around the Colosseum in Rome, for example. There are guys there that'll come up to you and say, I'll give you a 1-hour tour for 20 euro. Right. Well, you can rest assured that for 20 euro, you're not getting a licensed guide.
Buyer beware.
Right. Buyer beware. All right, Esther.
Listen, Joe says, hey, Al, why don't you set up a business putting pairs of people together with properties? You and Massimo can manage all the arrangements and contracts. I'll be glad to pay a 10% premium for that.
I'll tell you what. Is that Joe?
Yeah.
The answer is no. I don't want to do that. You know why? Because I only have X amount of time that I'm working a day. I'm writing books. I'm working with Esther. I'm practicing law. I'm 71 years old. This is supposed to be my, smell the roses period of my life.
And aren't you
That
smelling yeah.
That said, if I like you, I'll do it. Like Jimmy Ingram, for example, I love that guy. So he wants me to help him put together something so he could share an apartment over here. I will. Joe, if I like you, I'll help you. What do you want me to tell you? But I'm not going to do a business about it.
Stefania, vi aspettiamo. Partecipate alle nostre Italian conversations. A lot of people saying good things about our Italian conversation. Love the PDF printouts to study with it. Happy about that. That's great.
Nancy Moranto's a doll. When I hear Nancy Moranto's name, I only think of one thing: Sicilian cassata cake. You
And I
remember when
think
she was on the tour, how
I
much
think
she
of
loved
our
the cassata
Hulu.
cake?
I think about our Hulu dancing that we did, the Hawaii.
She's one of the nicest women I've ever met on any of the groups we've ever had. Never have anything but a perky smile on her face, and always was positive about everything. That's the type of a person that you want to have as a guest on the tour. I promise
We've
you that
been
much. That's
very,
for sure.
very lucky for that, for sure. Um, Tom says,
Yeah, we have.
now, what are you guys talking a pack of 100? You can walk into AAA. Look also at transfer box. Now,
$125. That's
for
not bad.
what?
That's 25%.
For a pack of 100.
Yeah. So they're
Oh, okay. I
making.
think he's
What are they
talking
making? They're
cash.
making right now. They're making $25. They're making $25. Well, no, €100 is $125. So maybe they're making a little bit, but that's a righteous deal for AAA.
Now,
Good deal for AAA.
those people who asked about the property and you doing the property, Al, we I do have a lot of friends who do have places for rent. My English teacher has a place for rent outside of Enna, and my friend Gabriella has a place for rent in Syracuse that I keep wanting to see. So maybe we should talk to them as well, Alfred. Lots of my friends here have places. The real estate, just like in the United States, is turning right now really quickly in Sicily. And a lot of people are trying to sell their places. Thank you,
Well,
Michael
however
says,
we can help, we'll help them, Esther.
exactly.
Okay? I mean, you help everybody.
You're so sweet, honey. Okay, so Jim says normally if you've booked on your tour through a reputable tour company, your guide is usually licensed. Yep. So
That's
like with us.
correct, James.
Okay,
As normal, Jimmy is right.
Sue says, can anyone tell me a little bit about Carini? My grandmother and her family are from there. We have not done an episode yet on Carini, but if you go to our YouTube page, and I can't remember, I think that's in the province of Enna, right, Al? Carini?
While I'm talking, I'm thinking. I don't think I've ever been there myself.
I don't think we have, but Sal, if you go to our You, Me, and Sicily YouTube page, that's You, Me, and Sicily, we have lots of videos under Explore Sicily from all over the place. So
I'll do some research on it this week, Sal. Next week I'll have
yeah.
a smart answer for you. Okay, that's
Uh,
what I'll tell you.
you can only see The Last Supper by buying the tour for The Last Supper in Milan. I saw it 2 years ago. That's so good to know about that. That would be a good thing to a good place to see, right, Al? No, I got to
When I
tell
was
you,
in Florence, I saw
yeah,
David. The statue of David, which
yeah,
profoundly impressed me. Especially walking up to the statue, there's all these big pieces of marble in various states of being developed by him. And because he used to, every time he looked at a block of marble, Da Vinci would say, "There's a statue in there waiting to get out." So as you walked up to see David, it was very impressive to see the different blocks. You remember that as
yes, 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 yes.
great, great.
Let me just say, most of the Etna guides are authorized because they have to have an
Yes.
Albert. The guide that we use is so great. He had to go to school, study. He's more than qualified. Thank you. Carini is a town, a community in Palermo. That's right. It's near the airport. That's right. It's around. You know what
Oh,
we
wait a
did
minute.
that? It's
Yeah, yeah.
we near Capaci, I think, where was the
What's the name of
assassination of
that town?
Capaci.
Partinico? No.
No, wait a sec.
What's it called?
There's Capaci, and I think you're right, Carini. It's near Partinico, which is an episode we did.
We had to take that exit off the autostrada to get to
That's
Partinico.
that's right.
Okay, so I know the area. I know
right.
the area.
That's right. Thanks for that, Peter Scipoletti, right on it. And I think Helen was too. So if you go
Yeah,
to
it
our
is. Right, right. It
You,
is, Helen.
Me,
You're right.
You, Me, and Sicily YouTube page, You, Me, and Sicily YouTube page, we did actually Isola della Femmina over there in that area, Partinico. So interesting. I just met someone else who is from Partinico and that area. What a beautiful place in the province of Palermo. And Alfred, remember that beautiful church in that very remote area? We had to go through the hills and valleys of Sicily to get there. And it's this beautiful remote church. And I remember,
We're
Alfred,
working on
the second I got there, the church bells were going off and all the birds were flying. And so those are some magical moments in some of these remote towns that are just wonderful.
we're
Yep.
working on a surprise a video that involving a third person that I really don't want to disclose anything else right at this particular time, but you know him, and everybody knows him, and I established communications with him, and now Esther, after he agreed to do it, now Esther's going to be working with him to do the logistical thing of doing a video. So we have to go out to the West Coast in any case, probably in October after we get done our touring. So maybe that Carini person would like us to do a video. Contact Esther and we'll give you the particulars on how you can go ahead and do a video on Carini. But I wanted to thank everybody today for a lot of things, the profound support that we're getting on a consistent basis, not only for our work that we're doing here with our video and stuff like that, but also for the Sicilian project. Now, last thing I want to say, Esther, and then I'm going to kind of go away, but Giovanni Lanza, the president of the Sicilian project, and myself, we had a meeting last week, and we're going to try to raise €5,000 between September and Thanksgiving, because we're not going to be able to do classes this year because of the COVID situation. Rather, we're going to continue giving money out to the needy. So you could stay tuned for that after September. After Ferragusto, I'll organize that. But I think that's a righteous thing that the Sicilian project is going to do.
Yeah.
Okay, Esther, we can wrap it up, I think.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like button on YouTube, on Facebook. We'll see you on Wednesday. In the meantime, buona giornata. Have a great day, and we'll see you on another episode of You, Me, and Sicily. Ciao, honey.
Thank you. See you soon, honey.
Arrivederci.
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 Bye-bye.